Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on this gorgeous little Happy Halloween bag. Is he not cute? Anyway, so what you will need for your bag, I love him. You will need your 4-ply green that we've been using quite a bit recently for our Halloween gear. If you've got a 4-ply, is actually a number 2 thread, okay? You will need the 4-ply for certain parts of this tutorial. I use the 4-ply and I double the thread and use a 4mm hook for the bag itself. Okay, so using the 4mm hook for the bag. Now for the mouth I use the 4mm hook as well. For his eyes I used only one thread of your green and your white, and I used the 3mm hook, which is there. Sorry about that. You will need your scissors, you will need stitch markers, a sewing needle, and you will need some pins. You may not, I needed it to keep his mouth in place, and I still sewed it on a tiny little bit crooked, but there you go. You didn't see that. And you will need very minimal of all this thread, really. You won't need much at all. I mean, even that, I think I used like, half a gram or something, not even, of your green in there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You'll need very minimal. You can make your bag in any color combination you like. I did use that 4-ply yarn, which is a number 2 overseas. Okay, so just be wary of that. I doubled the yarn for the bag. For the bag, I doubled the yarn for the top. I doubled the yarn for the handles. I doubled the yarn for the mouth, and these are single threads only. All right, this is worked in one piece only. I'm not kidding. There's no sewing. I mean, you have to sew in those ends at the end, the 2 ends that you start with, but there's no sewing involved. You work in the round and round and round. I know it sounds weird, but it does. And how gorgeous. You can't see any gaps, any holes, nothing. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm not going to talk anymore because like all of my tutorials, they go for a long time. And I thank you so much for watching and good luck making your bag. Alrighty guys, we're going to start off with a quick slip knot. And that's grabbing your tail end, wrapping it around your finger once and twice, holding it up there and holding your working end down there. Pass your back loop halfway over, hold it there, pass the other loop all the way over your finger, pop your hook in and give your work a tug. Super easy, yeah? All right, we're going to start off by chaining 25. A chain is yarn over your hook and pull a loop through once. Yes, and a nice close-up. Yarn over twice, 3 times, 4 times, yes? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, now you can do another one just for fun, just so you know how many single crochets you'll have in a row. When you do that 26th one, that gives you that very next stitch to do your 25th single crochet. All right, you've got your normal loop that we put our hook in, and sometimes we put it through both loops, but now we're going to put it through that back bump right there. Now I've used this method in a previous tutorial, so it's not new to Wow Crochet, maybe new to some people. So just have a good look at your work, turn it to the side, and you can actually see that little bump right there. Pop your hook in, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's a single crochet. Now you're going to do a single crochet in that back bump all the way across your row. Okay? Take your time, there's no rush. If this is your first time doing this stitch, and what that's doing is it's giving a gorgeous effect under there, and you won't even notice that later, but it also closes it up for your bag. Now remember, this bag is a no seam bag. How cool is that? You just work in the round all the way until you get to the top. Super easy. This is why I love this particular piece. I have made it a long time ago, but not for Halloween, just for a normal bag. But in the meantime, let's just keep going. It's just super easy. By the end of this row, you should have 25 stitches, guys. Okay. All right. Whoops. This one's a bit tight. For those of you who do know me, know that I do crochet relatively tightly. I did try to keep this loose because I'm working with the 2 strands. So if you heard in the promo, I used 2 strands of a 4-ply, which is actually, the 4-ply itself is actually a number 2 overseas, okay? For Australians, it's 4-ply. I used the 2 strands of the 4-ply with a 4mm hook on purpose to give it that nice, solid look, because you know it's going to hold lollies and candy and all sorts of yummy things. You don't want anything falling out, right? We're almost there, guys. Second last stitch is right there. Now in your last stitch, what you're doing, because we are going to work in the round, this is how we work in the round with this, you pop your hook in the back loop with 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and a 3rd single crochet, all in that same stitch. Now that stitch is already full, so hold your tail end at the back if it helps, just for a moment. See that stitch right there? You're going to pop a single crochet in there. That's your next stitch. 1. Yes? Then you're going to pop 1 in the very next stitch, which is your 2 loops there. In my tight stitch. 2. All right. Now, ordinarily, I would have told you to crochet over that tail. Normally, I would do that too, but I just want you to see this stitch, and I don't want you getting confused with all the threads hanging off it. So I'm just going to weave that in at the end, so don't stress, that will go in. In fact, we probably won't weave it in at the end. We'll weave it in another couple of minutes after we finish this round, or maybe even the next. All the way across. Super duper easy. This is the hardest row, guys. Believe it or not, for the whole orange rounds, this is your hardest row. So if you think this is super easy, the rest is going to be super duper easy. I know I do say super easy in almost all of my tutorials, and not everything is super easy, but the only thing, this is, you know, a bit tight for me because I've got 2 strands and I'm working on 2 strands at once, so that's the only thing that I have a problem with. But otherwise, it's relatively easy. And the next row, even easier. Okay, nearly there. Nearly there. All right. Whoops. Okay. And there we go. All right. We've got 1 more stitch there. And then we've got that last stitch right there. Now, on this side here, we put in 3 stitches. So 3 stitches need to go there, but there's already 1 in there. So you're just going to pop your hook in and put 2 more single crochets. 1 and 2. Now, working in that back bump has really closed up. There's no gap. That's the bottom part of your bag, believe it or not. Okay, so now what I need you to do, we're going to be working in what we call back loop only for the rest of our tutorial, okay, until we get up to the green, and then we'll be changing our stitch. All right, so these are the 2 loops that we usually work in crochet. All right, 2 2 2 all the way across. Now this is your front loop, yes, and this is your back loop. All right, so when you're looking at your work and you're getting ready to crochet across, and someone says crochet in your back loop, just pick up that back stitch right there. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, so the first one you go into that back loop right there, your very first stitch you come to, and I've just split the yarn. Let's try that again because I'm working with 2. And you do your normal single crochet in that back loop. Now, just quickly, popping a stitch marker. You don't need to move the stitch marker. Oh dear, I've just pulled it out without doing that. You don't need to move the stitch marker, just pop it around the stitch, around the front of the stitch, the back of the stitch. It doesn't matter, all right? But just pop it in. That's going to stay there throughout your whole tutorial. You don't need it, but you only need it for something we're going to do at the end, all right? So go into your back loop of your next stitch and your next. You actually do need it too for counting purposes. And your next, and your next. And how easy is this stitch? Oh, super duper easy. So keep going all the way around. I want to go a little bit faster now because I want to get to the other side so that I can show you what you're doing. Get right around to the other side. Nearly there. 3 more stitches, 2 more stitches, 1 more stitch, and here is our corners. All right, you still need to get into every stitch on your corner. Okay, so there's your first back loop of the first stitch. Yes, there's a back loop there of your second. Don't put it through both loops. Yes, I did. And there's the back loop of your third. All right, now just keep going all the way across. Okay, almost there. Okay, so a little bit of a trivia here. When yours truly is making something like this and I come to a stitch marker and I need to count my rows, I physically have a piece of paper and pen near me and I count. I physically count. I do it the old-fashioned way. That is how I keep track of my rows. The second I get to this stitch marker, which is right there, I just put a little mark on my paperwork. So I'm pretty old-fashioned in that area. All right, so we've gone into one of the stitches there. This is your second stitch. Oh, I think that's the first actually. This is your second. Oh, just the back loop. Oh, we're not going to front loops. Just going to the back loop. Let's see, did I go into back loop there? I did. Oh, dearie me. So we're still going in the back loop only, all the way around. Once you hit that stitch, you're still going in that back loop there. That's telling you that's the end of round 2. Because round 1 was the start of the bag. This is round 2. We're now officially on round 3. So you're going straight into the back loop. And so on. And so on. And so on. All right? So this is how super easy this is. Now, best part is, I'm just going to get some thread here. Your best part is, and you're going to love this bit, if you keep working in this round for 25 rows, you will have that gorgeous bag that you saw in the beginning. All right? And then we're going to all meet up here so that we can attach the green. Yoo-hoo! So what I want you to do, super easy this part, head off on your own, do all of your 25 rows, then we'll all meet back here, attach our green and get ready for pattern change. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the 25th row. Roughly at the end. It doesn't have to be super perfect. Alright, so how you find out whether you're right flat bang in the middle where your stitch marker is, just lay it flat, nice and flat. Doesn't have to be perfect yet again. Take that stitch marker out for a second. Really should have a second one here, but I can't find it. Just place it up the top there, right opposite to where it was. You don't even have to close it because that's exactly where we're going to work into. All right. There we go. You've got 2 left, 1. Still working the back loops. Now, these last 2 here, sorry, I meant 3. I do apologise. So these last two here, you're going to slip stitch into your first, pulling a loop through like that. Take that stitch marker out now because that's your last one. Slip stitch into your last, like that. Pull up a loop and pull it through. Give yourself a nice long tail just for easy weaving in. Doesn't have to be long for any reason. Now you already know, you don't need to put that stitch marker back. You know that's the other side right in the middle. So you know what you're going to do with your very next colour? You're working directly on the opposite side. You're thinking, what? Yes, there is method behind my madness, by the way. There is. All right. So what you're going to do, lift it up, just squeeze, get to the other side, pop your finger in, and you're still working in your back loops. So pop your hook, actually no, pop your hook in both loops for now because we have to join our piece. All right. Grab your new colour. I'm using the green, you know, pumpkin kind of look. All right, so grabbing your green, I'm still doing using 2 threads at the same time. Just going to lock this in place with a chain. Oops, and a single crochet in the same stitch. That chain can be nice and tight, by the way, and a single crochet in the same stitch. Now, really it should be in the back loops, but I don't think it supports it enough that way. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're still working in the back loops just for one round. So you are doing your normal single crochet row in your back loops only, all the way across. It's super easy, this pattern. You can't go wrong. So let me bring that out a little bit. That's better, so you don't have to watch the whole thing in full. How'd you go making your bag? Did it take long? It does take a while, doesn't it? Imagine if you did 30 stitches. You see, you have the opportunity to do smaller or larger bags to suit you, and this is just one size, and you can do many sizes. Just add as many stitches as you like. There's no special count for this bag. Just remembering to put in those 3 single crochets at the beginning on one side and 2 plus the one you already had there before at the end of the other side. All right, when the very first row that we did. And that's all you need to remember. It's super easy. Now, the only reason I'm just doing this row with you, and I should have sent you off on your own to do it, but I'm doing this until we get to that orange stitch, you know, the big loop we've got lying around there, so I can show you how to get rid of that tail. Okay, we're nearly there. Back loop there. All right, bring your orange tails, just put them behind you like that. I'll get nice and close for this bit. And what you've got there is 1, 2, and then it goes straight into your very next stitch. So you're doing your normal single crochet in your back loops of this one, and you are doing your normal single crochet in the back loops of that one. However, there's your back loops. What you're doing is you're grabbing your tail, passing it at the back, holding it with your fingers down there, and then just crocheting over the whole tail like so, jumping into your very next stitch, and no one's none the wiser. Super, super easy. All right, tail gone. You do need to weave that in later. You haven't, it's not finished. Don't just cut it and walk away. You don't want your young one's bag to collapse. Oh, look at this. I had one job. Finish off the row. Hello. Oh dear. Now you're going to do the same when we get towards the end of this row as well. I'll just pick up speed a little bit until we get closer to the end of those tails right there. When we get closer to those tails, I'll meet you up. All right, so let's just keep going. Alrighty, how'd you go, guys? It's looking gorgeous already. I'm loving the green with this orange. Alright, so we're nearly there towards that green. There's your back loop of the stitch before the one you're working in. There. Alright, now with this one here, we're going to be changing the way we work. Now we've been working in the back loops all along For this next row, we're going to be working in the front loops. So see that front loop right there? You're going to work in the front loop. Jumping right on top of it. Before you do, pop yourself a stitch marker just here, just to remind you, you know where the beginning and the end is, but just to remind you that you already know that because the orange is on the opposite side. All right, but just pop it there anyway, and you are working in the front loops for this part. Now what this is going to do is it's going to help turn your top part down, so it's easier later when we want to stitch it down. All right, here we go. Front loops only, all the way across the row, and you don't even have to worry about your orange threads because they're in there at the moment, so you just keep going. So I'm going to pick up speed a little bit right now. Alrighty guys, here we go. We're getting closer to our stitch marker, and it means nothing until we get right up to it. Okay, we've got 2 more to go. 1 and 2, and you know that because the stitch looks different. Now here, all you're no longer doing front loops, nor are you doing back loops. You're doing them in both the loops, which is normal single crochets all the way across your row. Alright, so best part guys is, I'm not going to let you watch me do this. What I would like for you to do is to head off on your own. By the way, the reason we did that in the front loops is later when our work grows, this is going to turn down that way, and that's the look we want. Alright, so what I would like for you to do is to head off on your own and do 5 rows. That's including this one. So do 5 of these single crochet rows all together. So the row that we're on now, plus another 4. All right. So you go around there once and then another 4 times. Easy. Meet me back here after your 5th row and get ready for what's to happen next. Alrighty guys, here we go. Yay. You will find that buckles a little bit. That's exactly what we want. That's the look we're going for. So let's finish off this section here. First thing you need to do, and there's your stitch marker. So roughly, oh, too far away, sorry guys. So roughly around here, so this section here, might take this one undone. So right there, that stitch there is pretty much your last. So what we're going to do, we're going to do exactly what we did before, slip stitch in one, pull a loop through, slip stitch into the other, and pull the loop through again, pull up a loop, but nice long tail. All right, just, you know, the size of your bag, okay? And then just give it a cut. All right, grabbing your needle. I just had to cut that because I knotted it as we speak. Now I've got 2 ends here to pop through. I don't know how I'm going to manage that, but I'll try it. Threading your needle. All right. So there you go, you've got your 2 threads, try to keep them as even as possible, and all you're doing, just take out that stitch marker for now, right there, passing your work down like that, okay? Now it automatically goes down to the line where we did our front loops anyway, so turning your work this way, and all you're doing is making sure everything is straight, grabbing your thread, passing it into your bag anywhere you like. All right, a little bit higher, just not too low, a little bit higher, because if you do it low, then your bag's going to pull a little bit, and we don't want it to pull. So straighten that bag nice, lift it a tiny bit, and stick your needle right through to the other side of the bag. Ooh, if I can get it through. Oh, and I've got too many ends here. There we go. Let's bring those down. And there you go. So your little knot right there is ended a little bit. Then you're going to go back through exactly where you were, lifting up your needle a little bit, popping it straight through to the green, and it doesn't matter if you can see it, because once you pull that thread through, you won't be able to tell. I've got ends everywhere. There we go. You won't be able to tell. So what you do, you just keep going down and into your bag, just once and twice, not much. It's just enough to hold it into place. I reckon I'll do it another time. Find another spot and straight through there. There. Now, while we're here, we turn our bag inside out. I probably didn't need to leave such a long tail. Sorry, guys. Didn't really need such a long tail. All right, just weaving in and out of your work. Okay? So what that's doing is it's locking everything into place. There we go. All right, and now just go back. Maybe don't go into so much thread. Making sure you can't see any of this from the other side, yeah? Might pay to weave up the top a bit. That way you won't be able to see it. All right, now if you wanted to, you could actually even line your bag in the future. And if you like, with popular demand, I may just do that for you. Hence the word popular demand. All right, so there you go. That is not going to come undone. All right, so even if it lifts up a little bit, it's not going to come out. To get the other side, that's going to be even better. All right, so just tuck all those ends in there for now so they're out of your way. So we're going to start from this side. Now all you're going to do to start your bag, normally I would have popped it just at the top, but I don't think that's strong enough. So what I want you to do, now there's your bag first. Sorry, I should have shown you exactly where to, exactly where to put it, okay? Your bag from there to there, there's no perfect measurement. However, make the same measurement on both sides. So if you decide to go 3 stitches in, that's where you go on that side, 3 stitches in there. If you decide to go 5 stitches, if you only got a little tiny handle here, which is ridiculous, but you might, then do exactly the same for your opposite side. So it doesn't matter where you start. So I'm going to go in, let's see, maybe 5. So there's your middle. There's your stitch count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 is too, oh no, 5's fine. Okay, leaving yourself a nice long tail. When I say long, not as long as before. Just, you know, that much. Not as long as before. All right, pulling a loop through like normal. Okay, now just wrapping your tail in front just to help you lock it into place. You're going to chain up 30, chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the idea is to keep this nice and straight, by the way. 7, and go ahead and count your 30. 30. There's your 30. Keeping your end nice and straight, you're going to jump over here and you're going to count 5 back this way. So there's your little stitches there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure you're going through your green and your orange. And just slip stitching directly into that stitch there. And it is a slip stitch, all right? Now, you're turning your work. So you're working, your bag is facing downwards, all right? See your first stitch there? You're going to do a single crochet in that first stitch. You can put it through both loops, 1 loop, whatever you like. Single crochet 1, 2, and so on all the way across your chains. Alrighty, how'd you go? Takes a while, doesn't it? I think with me too, also I left my stitches relatively tight, so I'm struggling to get my hook through. There you go, it happens, it's okay. Okay, so here what we're going to do, we're getting close to the edge. Alright, there you go. Alright, now, I think I've got, see how tight that chain is? Oh dear, this is very tight. Got it though. Alright, so your very last stitch, and what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch back into that stitch there. Turn your work yet again, okay? And then once again, you are going to single crochet, oops, no, skip that slip stitch, sorry. Jump up to the next stitch and single crochet all the way across to the other side. But you're not going to turn when you get to the other side, so I'll just pop this on speed and we'll catch up in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are nearing the end of the row. Now if you remember correctly, you had one there. Get a nice close-up so you can see this part. And there's one right there, the tight one right there. Alright, you're going to slip stitch into the stitch, but you're going into that orange as well. So slip stitching right through the green and the orange. Now you are single crocheting over the green and the orange all the way across until you get to the opposite side where you can do your next handle. Yeah. Oh, tight stitching there. The corners are quite tight. I think we got one more to do. I'm not sure. We'll have a look in a minute. Let's have a look, see. Grab our bag. Might have gone too far. Oh, actually, that might have looked all right. Okay, if you wanted to know how many stitches that was roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from the actual handle. Now, it doesn't really matter as long as when you lay it down together, the handles match. So the handle there matches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 30. 1, 2, 3. $29.30. All right, let's bring that out a little bit. Okay, now remember what you did before. See that right there? You're going to jump right over to the exact opposite stitch in there, and you are going to go in there with a slip stitch. Hopefully you didn't twist your work. Pulling that through like so. Okay, turning your work, and you're going to single crochet in your first stitch. Sorry guys, you know what, let me take that undone so you can see what I did there. So far away, I do apologize. Okay, so we were here, yeah, now we turned our work, and then there's your first stitch right there. You single crochet in there. Again, you can go through 2 loops or 1 loop, whatever suits you. Single crocheting all the way up. Few more right there. I'll get a nice close-up of this part so you can see. I think there's one right there. This is very tight crocheting I've got here, guys. I wonder if there's one there. There is. Oh dear, that'll teach me. Okay, all right, now we're here. Now remember what we did before. We slip stitched into the very next stitch, not the same stitch, the next one. Pull that loop through, turn your work, single crochet in your very first stitch, 1, and then you are single crocheting in all your stitches all the way across until you get to your other side. All right, so what I'm going to do is pick up speed and I'll meet you when you get down to the other side. Alrighty guys, here we are getting closer to the end of the row. Let me get a nice close-up for you. Alright, I have that one stitch there left, and I have one there which is just before the end of the row, so popping my single crochet in there. Now remember before, around when we came back around here, we did our single crochet and we jumped into that, did our chain, then we went back. Now we're going back the other way. We have to continue that single crochet around here. So what you're going to do first is slip stitch right into that first stitch, but remember we're going into the whole stitch, not just the loop there. We're going into that whole green and orange thickness. All right, there, it's a little bit tricky, but there you go. Lift it up and just pull the loop through to the loop on your hook, jumping into your next stitch, but the full stitch, not just that little green loop there. You need to go through the stitch and through the orange underneath, doing your single crochets all the way across that tight area. Right there. Being careful, I went through a double thickness before, so being careful not to do that. All right, super easy. Just, you know, checking your stitches as you're going along. Now, just before you get to this area here, remember this one? You single crochet into that right there. Then you slip stitch into your stitches right there. Okay, into your little handle. Pull up a loop. Now all you need to do is cut these ends, and you're going to be weaving all these ends in. We're going to be doing some weaving in of ends, and before we do, just remember that part that's not sewn in yet. You're going to sew that in a minute. But we're also going to do 2 eyes and a mouth. Because it's Happy Halloween bag, isn't it? That's what it is. But before we do, we're going to start by weaving in this end. So grab some thread, just a small amount, nothing major. There you go, a small amount. Let's get a close up. Now, the other side is already sewn into, you can see that there. So all you do is go like that, grab your other side. Now when you do this part, just being wary, that's sitting up a little bit. This is really down. Just lift it so it matches the other side. So what you do is you grab your little part there. Oops. I haven't put a tail on my, I haven't put a knot on my tail. So when I pull it through, just anywhere, see that right there? Right there? Anywhere where it's not too high up, pull it through. I'm going to leave that there, that tail like that, because I haven't put a knot in there yet, and I should have put it in before. Remember what I do? I go inside there without pinning yourself like I just did. You know how many times I pin myself doing these jumps? Don't pin yourself, guys. Have a look, make sure it's even. That is even. All right. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. I don't think I did it too hard. Oh, this is a really, really pointy needle. And I mean really pointy. It's very, very sharp, this one. Check that out. Oh, it's not like your normal needle. It's more like a sewing needle. and go back in there like so. Remember, you don't have to do a lot. I'm only going to do 2. Probably could have done 3, but I'm only going to do 2. You don't have to do a lot. Back in. Just when you're in here, because we haven't done a knot, if you want, you could do a little knot first, which I recommend, highly recommend, because I didn't do a knot before, which I was a bit silly. Never mind. It's always one silly one in every tutorial. Okay, so there you go. Now, all you're doing, again, you didn't need so much of this, you know, tail, and you're just going to weave in and out. Remember, not go through anywhere, yeah? You're better off weaving in and out really higher up. So if you do want that covered, so no one sees that green, and you do want that covered with lining, let me know, and I'll consider whether to line or not. Okay, so just keep weaving in. Anywhere you like, making sure you can't see it there and you can't. There's another way you could have done it. You could have gone underneath the green so you don't see it. But that's okay. I don't mind doing it the other way. I think it looks all right. It doesn't look too bad at all. Okay, now I'm going to cut that end there because we've weaved that one in enough. But do yourselves a favour, rethread your needle and weave that other one in there. Now, turning your bag inside out, guys, I hate to have to admit this, you have to weave in all these ends. Sorry. So what I want you to do, guys, go ahead and weave in all these ends. Try not to let the thread show on that side of your bag, okay? But just quickly, I want to show you one of the ends on the handle, because I think the handle is one of those things that you don't want anyone to see that particular end, yeah? So where's one that I can do? All right, right here. Now I've got a lot of ends because I've doubled my thread. Now if you guys have doubled your thread as well, you're going to have a lot of ends too, sorry. And I'm actually going to sew these in separately, only because it's better and they separate and they keep them, like, you know, it kind of knots them into place in different areas. You can weave them in different areas, one on one side and one on the other. That way it'll be less likely and less noticeable. All right, there you go. There's one end. Yeah. All I'm going to do is find a space at the back in a stitch at the back. Let me get a nice close up so you can see. Far too many ends for you to see what I'm doing here. There, how's that? That stitch right there. Yeah. I'm popping it through there. And it's going straight through to the other side. When I do this one, I'm going to go that other way, so it's gone completely. All right, so this one is now under here. I'm going to bring it down that little bit more. Yeah, one more stitch, and right down and into that stitch right there, the back of the stitch. So now I can actually weave this thread in and out of here, making sure you can't see it in the back and the front, sorry, and you can't. And then you just weave it in. Going back the other way one way, you don't need to do it too many times. And the reason is because you have separated these threads, that is not going to come undone. Your tail end will not come undone. You've done it twice. I think that's plenty. All right, there you go. Give it a tug and it's in place. So with that one there, you're going back the other way as well. Now, that's the bag done. Weave in all your gazillion ends. Meet me back here in a moment and we will attach 2 eyes and a mouth. Ta-da! You like his eye? It's cute. For this part of the tutorial, guys, you will need a 3mm hook, your 4mm hook, your scissors, your stitch marker, and a sewing needle. Sorry guys, you've got to attach his eye and his mouth. We're going to make a gorgeous big smiley mouth because our happy Halloween bag needs to be happy. All right, so we're going to start off with the eye first. All right, let's move everything out the way. All right, for his eye, we really need to have long tails, okay? So give yourself, I don't know, maybe the size of the bag tail. How's that? Give yourself that. Only because we're going to use this to sew to the bag later, all right? So you've left yourself a nice long tail. Grab your working yarn, wrap it around your fingers. I'll get a nice close up there, forming a cross like so, all right? grabbing your 3mm hook, popping it under the first loop, pull the back loop forward and up. Now you should have 1, 2 and 3. You need to grab all of them. Okay, you need to hold on to all of them. Don't let go. Chain 1, nice tight chain, and do a single crochet in that center. Now a single crochet is just popping your hook in the space, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. First thing you're going to do is pull that shut a little bit. Make sure you've got enough space to pop in another 9 single crochets roughly. Then you're going to grab your stitch marker, which I haven't opened yet, dearie me. Grab your stitch marker and you're going to pop it in those 2 loops of that stitch that we just did. All right, the 2 loops of the stitch. Okay, and I'll show you those 2 loops again when we start doing the rest. You're going to pop another single crochet in that space, pull up your loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Now let's get a nice close up of those loops so you can see where I put the hook, where I put the stitch marker, and it's those 2 top loops right there. All right, that's where they were. So you've done the 2 single crochets so far. Yes, I've got to be careful not to pick up the wrong thread now that this has got such a long tail. All right, then you've got another 1, 3, 4, 5, don't leave these 2 loose, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. All right, now just giving your tail end, the little tail that we started off with, a big tug, and that will close up your ring, your circle, hence the word magic. Okay, all right, now what you're going to do is slip stitch straight into that stitch marker space. All right, the actual stitch itself. There we go. Okay, grab your thread, pull it through to the loop on your hook, pull up a loop. Guess what? Make that loop nice and long. You're going to cut it. Actually, no, you don't need, that one doesn't need to be that long, sorry. Only the first one needed to be long. Just make a loop so you can weave in that tail. That's done. That part of your eye is done. So what you're going to do with that thread, just quickly, you're going to grab, I'm wondering why this is not working. I've got my glasses on the head. You guys will be laughing at me at the moment. I've got the glasses on the head, but not on the actual face. You like that? So thread your needle. Hello. Thread your needle. This is the top loop that we just finished with. Thread it. All you need to do is turn it around. Grab a little section anywhere you like. And weave it in. And that's what you're doing. You're hiding that tail end right there. All right? At the back. Wherever you like. Hide, hide, hide. Tuck, tuck, tuck. It doesn't matter where. And you only need to do twice here. This is not going to come undone because it's going to be sewn to your bag. Okay, so just pop it through maybe twice and that's it. Making sure you can't see it in the front, and you can't. And then all you're going to do is cut that. Being careful not to cut the wrong one. You cut the other one, it's going to come undone. It's no longer a magic loop. All right, so that is, leave that tail because you're going to use that to sew onto the white. Now you're going to quickly do a white with me. Okay, now the white one as well, same thing. You just need the one thin thread. Move all that out the way. You're going to start it exactly the same with your magic ring. Oh, wait a minute. No, you're not. You're going to make sure you've got enough tail. So leave yourself like a double loop tail like that. You probably don't need so much, but I'm just trying to be safe, yeah? So leave yourself that much. Grabbing that working end now and pulling it over, forming your little cross there. Move everything out the way so you'll go and see. That's better. Grab your hook, same hook, number 3. Pull up your loop or whatever smaller hook size you're using. Chain 1, single crochet in your same stitch. I'm sorry, in the same space. Again, closing that up a little bit, grabbing your stitch marker. You'll need your stitch marker definitely for this round, because you've got 2 rounds for this, for the white one. Okay, I just took my hook out because it's annoying me. Oh dear. Okay, so popping your stitch marker. If it worries you, you can pop your stitch marker in after doing the second stitch. If you're finding all this a little bit uncomfortable, because it's a little bit uncomfortable being a smaller hook and thinner thread, you're going to do your 10 single crochets in the round again. So you've got 1, this is your second one, and your 3rd, 4th. So this part's exactly the same as the green. 5, 6, just give that a bit of a tug, not too much. 7, now the stitch marker's annoying, isn't it? 8, 9, and 10. All right, and now you're just going to give your little thread a tug at the back there, that first thread that we started with, grabbing your hook and slip stitching it right into that stitch marker stitch right there. And if you're anything like me, that will be gorgeously tight, won't it? We do need this particular piece to be tight anyway. All right, take that stitch marker out once your hook is in. Oh no, that wasn't supposed to happen. But still, at least I've got that still there like that. All right, being careful to pick up the right thread, yeah? Pull your loop through. Yes? And then pull it through to the loop on your hook. All right? Chain 1, single crochet in the same space that you are in. I'm sorry, let's try the same stitch that you are in. Same nice tight stitch that you are in. Oh, I don't know how you guys put up with me. Anyway, there you pop that little stitch marker back in that first stitch. And then all you're doing is popping another single crochet in the same stitch. And this is how easy this round is. You are doing, make sure you get right into that very next stitch. You're doing 2 single crochets in every stitch. And it doesn't even matter, oh well it does really, if you're off 1 or 2 stitches, because it'll make your eye look different. But if you wanted to, you can make one eye big and one eye small, like you were doing a monster hat or something. Monster hat, try monster bag. Hello. Otherwise, just continue with doing your 2 single crochets in each stitch to do a normal eye that we're about to do. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and yours truly does crochet very tightly. 1 and 2. I struggle to get the hook in. 1 and 2, but eyes need to look tight, you know, I think so. And then 1 and 2. Now I have a funny feeling that that last one is not a stitch. If you want, count your stitches. If you had 10 in the beginning, you should have 20 now. So 1, 2, and that's these little V's you're looking at. See those little V's? That's what you're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, they're very hard to see, aren't they? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, I've left one. There it is, 20. My apologies. There we go. So you should have 20 stitches to begin with. Okay. And now what you need to do is pop your hook in your stitch marker, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook. And what we're going to do quickly is just make sure it is the same size as my previous one. And it sure looks like it. All right. So now that we know it's the same size, I'll know they'll both match. You need to make 2 of these, by the way. So then you just pull your loop through. You're going to do the same with this one. All you're going to do with this end is weave it in. Oh, I'll take a stitch marker out. Sorry about that. Weave this one in, because you won't need this anymore, because you're going to work with the back one to attach to your bag. But weave in the top end that you just finished with. Okay. And when I say weave them, you just find a place anywhere you like, just to bring your loop back, like so. And then just weave in and out the back, anywhere you like with this one, because this is just a finishing one. The other one's the one we're going to use for sewing. Just going back the other way. I'm not even going to fuss. It won't come undone. It's so tight. Trust me, that is not going to come undone. Just give it a cut and stretch it out a bit. All right, so that's done, and your green is done. Now what you're going to do is grab your little green guy. All right, there we go. Now all you're going to do, see that green? You're going to go onto your white. Make sure you give that white a tug. It's got a bit of a gap. I'm not too worried because that'll, when we attach it to the bag, that'll close up anyways. But just grabbing a little bit of thread there and pulling it through. Ta-da! Easy, easy. You might want to give your green a little bit of a tug before you continue so it closes up the eye. If you had a button, you could pop a button there instead, or if you had a bead or something else, okay? But I don't have that right now, so I'm just going to do however I think is comfortable for him. So now I'm going to go to the opposite side that I just came from. It's all very, very thick, the ends now. This is not the right needle, it's too thick for it. I should be using a thinner needle for this, but there you go, you live and learn. So you do that, and you close him up. And he goes into the spot you want him. If you find it's too low or too high, adjust it now. And then you start doing this. You just keep going in the round like so. No one's going to see that, it's underneath. Yes? Okay. You just keep going around him. Alright, so once you have done, I don't know, not even 2 or 3, whatever, you don't have to overfuss. All you do is open up your green and white, and you just stick that through to, not like that, stick it through to the right, to the white side, not the right side, the white side. Pull it through and leave it there for now, okay? And there's your white and there's your green. Now, you're going to attach it to your bag. Super easy. Now, when attaching to your bag, you decide where you want his eyes to be, if you want them to be closer, if you want them to be far apart. I thought far apart would be nice. I didn't even use a measuring tape. I just got my thumb. I went like that, and I went like that kind of thing, and I worked that way. Because it's a monster bag or a happy face bag, it doesn't have to be perfectly perfect, but you do want it to be kind of symmetrical, don't you? You really want it to be at least a little bit straight, yeah? So you face him towards you. I've noticed that he's too high up. I'll bring him down. Yeah. Go back. Let's have a look. Is he kind of there? No, I don't like it. Let's move him over. Do you know what I mean? You play with your guy. I don't like him like that either. You know what I mean? Have a play with your guy. Put him the way you want him to go. And if you're not happy, just move him around. All right. If you do this part of it where you pop your needle in, let me get a close up for you. You pop your needle in the orange. It's not going into the bag. It's only going into there. It's going on the bag. If you're at this stage, I might turn that around a bit. If you've done this part like that, and you decide, oh no, I didn't like him on that spot. I wanted to move him over. He's too high up, which he actually is. You can maneuver him to suit you for the first one. Once you do your second one, there's not much you can do about it. You have to take it undone, okay? But I think like that is perfect. And again, I'm not worried about how he looks. I do want him to be that way because I've noticed the way I've sewn him on, his eyes are a little bit lower there than they are at the top. So I prefer the lower part to be on the bottom. So I'm going to readjust him to suit me. And if that doesn't work, if you look to the side, It's actually crooked. So I'm going to bring him down a little bit more to suit. Okay. And then lift this up. And then go, oh, what were we on? We did the white already, didn't we? I know we've done the orange. We're going to go back to the white. Okay, I'll get closer for you. You just go into the white a little bit. Let's have a look. I'm just going to have another look, see, make sure he's straight. I'm not really happy again. There, that's where I want him to be. Then I grab him and then I work off the table. But you can work on the table if you like. I find it easier to work off the table for this sort of thing. And, you know, it's entirely up to you, really. It's entirely up to you. And you just grab a little bit. The last one was white. I'm looking to see what I did last. And then you just grab a little bit of your orange. Yep. Making sure you're not pinning yourself. And then a little bit of your white. And more likely for you, probably best with the white one to do this. By the way, I'm going to stop using the green. And pop the green down and in through to the inside of the bag. Like that. Leave him there because you're going to use him to tie up with the white one. Okay, so you grab your white and thread it like so, and then readjust his eye, make sure you're happy, and now you're going to do exactly what you did with the red. We don't even have red. Try green. You're going to do exactly what you did with the green. Hello. And you are going to go around. There's your white there. You're going to go around this orange bit with your white. All right. Ow. You're not supposed to pin yourself like that. I do it in every tutorial. I really do. Oh, and I've got the glasses on today too, guys. Okay. So go to your... is there any blood? No blood, because I don't want any blood to go on the the work. Oh dear, it's in every tutorial. All right, so there you go. Don't pin yourself, guys. Heads up. So how's that? Is he looking good? All right, I can't stop laughing now. All right, now where are we? We've gone through the white. Now we've got to go into the orange. Now, your best bid in this particular part of your pattern is to make sure you have more thread here than underneath, because here he can wobble and come off, and you don't want that. But really, try and keep it as even as possible, okay? So now I'm going through some white on this side and some orange on the other side, and I'm going to make sure I do some more up the top. See the top end? The sides are done, the bottom is done, but I don't have a lot at the top, so he's going to dangle. We don't want that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just grab quite a large bit of the top behind the green, so it's not that noticeable. Yeah, and then it's really awkward this side of the bag because it's hard for us to work that way when it's easier to work this way than that way. It would be good if you're a left-hander with this part. Just for this part. All right, so there we go. Pop our needle in there. And I think that's perfect now. All right, so pop your needle through to the other side. All right, turning your bag inside out. Because now, as you can see, I've done it there already. You're going to tie him up. You tie them together. I've still got the needle attached to the white on purpose because we're going to weave the white in a minute, but we're going to tie them up first. Just do a knot. This guy is not coming undone. Not at all. So you just, when I say weave him in, you just keep going in and out of different areas of that bag, making sure you're not coming out through to the front. Always check that you're not, you know, sticking out here or something, but you're not because you're right behind the eye anyway. So, and you don't need much. I've just weaved that in 3 times. That was it. Right. Grab the other green. Whoops, upside down. It's not going to work, is it? Oh dear. Okay. Pop the green in and out. Exactly what you did with the white, you're doing with the green. And you're only, like I said, you're only doing it 2 or 3 times because you've done so much with it. You've knotted him at the back. You've done a lot. Done. Easy, easy. All right, now we put him back in the right way. Get him ready because now he's a lovely guy, but something's missing. He's missing a gorgeous smile, and this is where your 4mm hook comes in. You will need 2 threads of your green, not your 1. You'll need the 2 threads if you're using thin yarn. If you're using an 8-ply, which is a number 3, that's okay, but if you're using a 4-ply, which this is, and it's a number 2, you will need 2 threads because his mouth, you want his mouth to look good. So what you need to do, so you can double your thread any way you like. You don't need a lot because we are only doing, I don't know, 20 chains. Now I've just doubled mine, folded it over so you can see the fold there, but I can cut that later. The only thing you will need is a longer tail for one of them because you're going to sew his mouth onto the bag. Okay, so I'm just going to leave a longer tail for both of them, both threads. And it doesn't matter, all right? So just make sure one of them has a long tail. Let's move him out the way for now. All you need to do is form a quick slip knot. Have your finger there, there and there. Pass that back loop there, the other loop there. So form a slip knot either way, all right? Chaining 20, and you guys know what chains are. Yarn over your hook, pull a loop through. Once, don't make them too tight. Twice, 3, 4, 19 and 20. Cut your thread, I just got mine as loose there, and then pull it through. On the 20th chain, the 19th chain, it doesn't matter. And there's my long tail. I'll just show you quickly. There's my long tail that I want to work with, all right? You don't need such a long tail. I'm just giving you a heads up. Grab your baggie. Now you need to sort the mouth however you want. If you want one of these mouths like this, you can, where he looks like a bit of a monster or something, you can. I'm just going to have a nice round happy mouth because he is a happy Halloween this year. We want a happy Halloween this year. Of all years, this is the year we want a happy Halloween, right? Now get those 2 threads there. You are using both of them, so I'm going to cut that. I don't need that. You could probably just get away with using 1, but you will really need to weave in the other one. So I've decided we're going to use them both. So now, the way you put it, see these little bits right there where it looks flat? You've got it bubbled on one side and flat on the other. Well, you want the flat side to be facing us, so we can stick our needle in that flat side, all right? You want his mouth to go one way, but you want the thread that you're going to sew him with towards the open part of your bag. It's easier for you to work this way than it is for you to work that way, all right? So making sure your threaded part is this side of your bag. Pop him exactly where you want him to go. But you're putting the flat side facing you, all right? And the bubbled edge side going the other way. I hope that helps. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but I think, because I tried to do this without pinning it down, and I had a lot of trouble and the mouth ended up a mess. So I thought, whilst I'm telling you, it might be easier for you to pin his mouth where you want him to go. You might want him to be like that and just have a monster mouth. You might want him to have this really big smiley mouth, which is what yours truly wants to do, right? Or you may just want him to have a straight mouth, make that a little bit smaller and just have a straight mouth because he's actually a square fella. It's entirely up to you, but I'm thinking because of, you know, the times that we are in, I would love him to have a big happy face because we want to have a really good happy Halloween this year, I think. So I'm going to give him a big happy smiley face. So making sure the flat side is facing you, and if you want to, like I'm going to, you can pin, not that way, I don't want to pin myself. Pin him down where you want to sew him. I think that's the best way. Now, just being wary that when you're pinning, you're not going to pin yourself like I've been doing this past 20 minutes. You haven't seen it because it's been off air. Pin yourself, pin, hello, pin him down, making sure you're not pinning the other side of the bag or you're going to end up with a closed bag, yeah? All right, so there you go. That's where I want his smile to be. Now I've got a gazillion more pins here. All right, so pin him down where you want your mouth to be and I shall meet you back. So there's my pins all pinned down. That's about as best I want him to go. Now it doesn't matter if while I'm doing it he's a tiny little bit out, that doesn't matter, but that's as close as I want it to go. Okay, so I've decided to work from this angle first, taking out your very first pin, because you won't need that one. All right, just making sure you didn't move it like I just did. And just going underneath. You can just go under that little thing there, or I might go under this one here because it's really high up, this bit. See how high up it is? So you're going underneath a little bit of that orange thread or whatever colour bag you use, pulling your needle through. It doesn't matter if you're splitting a thread like I just did, it doesn't matter. And you're going to go through your V's. All right, see those little V's? They all look like little V's. You're going through the middle of the V right there. Okay, and don't pull so tight. You just want it to be pinned down. You don't want it to be splitting. And now be careful, being careful also not to take the inside of your work. All right, so maybe it might help to pop your hand inside to do this part here, and all you're doing is jumping straight into your next V, lifting up a bit of thread from the bag. See, I'm going straight through the orange there and straight into your very next V. All right, if you find that annoying, that needle, take it out. All right, which I'm going to do right now. Not needle, try pin. So keep going, just being careful, don't move it around because I just moved it. Okay, go into your very next V and up through your next V, making sure you don't pin your hand in there. I did it already twice the other day. Now I'm doing well. Hopefully you've got enough tail. I don't know if mine's going to make it. I may have to use the other tail to fix it up, but we'll see. So going straight into your next V and splitting making sure you're getting into the orange underneath. Otherwise this isn't going to work. There's no point just going through the green, yeah? So going straight into your next V. I might have to take this pin out here. Try and keep it steady because you don't want to move it. Go straight into your next V. If you want to skip a few V's, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I just went through too much of the thickness of the orange there. All right. But it seems fine like this. Just going in and out. Don't pull it too tight. You don't want to, have that tugging look. So far it's looking gorgeous. I know I say that about all our work. You do though. You can't help yourself. You love what you create. Well, I do anyway. So if he moved around a little bit, adjust this side to suit. But I think he didn't. I think he was okay. I think I saved him. Being careful when you remove those pins that he may move, okay? Again, jumping straight into your V, hopping into the next V, going through the orange, of course, making sure you're going through the orange or it doesn't work. It's not going to work, is it? But that definitely went in there. Oh dear. And then jumping straight into another V and doing exactly the same. All right? Being careful not to pin yourself. Oh dear. All right. So now we are close to the end. I'm not going to take that pin out yet because I really need that to stay in place until I'm ready to get to the top. I'm kind of almost there. Okay, so I'm going to jump into that next V and pop straight through to the orange. I think I'm there to the top, so that needle connect is coming out anyway as we speak. So there you go. All right, so now he has moved over a little bit, just now taking out the pin. So I just adjust him to suit me. All right, so you're just going to go straight into there and pop your needle right through to the inside of your bag. I don't know if you can, ow! Don't pin yourself. You pop it through the bag and leave it there for a minute. I pulled it out because I'm going to rethread this one here. So now all you're doing, because this is part of your work, you're just going to go well, you can either go in or you can go over. I'm just going to go over like that. Like so, finding a little spot, pop your needle in without hurting yourself like I just did, pulling it through, and let's have a look-see. Oops, gorgeous. Now, once again, you are popping your bag inside out. And you know why, don't you? Because we have to tie it up and weave it in. And then we're done with the bag. Oh my gosh, get excited, guys. Get excited. It's only taken us 17 billion hours again. So you tie it in a knot, nice and tight. And there's your knot. One of your threads should still be on the needle. Just weave in and out. A little bit, not much. Being careful not to let it show. Oh, I nearly did. Almost. Being careful not to let it show. It might pay to just go in and out of the knot, the knotted area, if that helps you, okay? But very thin. Just take a little bit of material, yarn. Okay, and I'm only going to do very minimal. It's not going to come undone because it's been knotted and it's been sewn twice. All right, I'm going to do exactly the same with the other end. All right, easy, easy. Just making sure you can't see it, and you can't, which is good. Oh, it's so thick now. Oh dear. Going through in a... oh, that's not going to go through at all. It's so thick. I think that might have gone through. No? Perfect. I think... oh, that's not going to come undone. And let's pull that out, wherever it is. There it is. Alright, now we're going to cut that. So you can now enjoy your Halloween bag. I love his smile. His smile gives it away that he's happy. Do you think he's happy? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and don't forget to join us on our lives both Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time, that is. So join us on our lives, and we have a lot of fun. Sometimes we're a little bit silly, and sometimes we talk very serious stuff about crochet. Yay! Thank you so much for watching, guys, and all I want to say right now is ciao for now.